before they're graveborn. Right? Look at that.
Goodbye, mommy's hands. Goodbye, daddy's figure. Goodbye to my precious toy. It's Daimon's final land. Darkness finally descends, but also the chapter of my death. Goodbye, mommy's hands. Goodbye, daddy's figure. Goodbye to my precious toy.
I love this one. I don't even know if we've played this one before, so I hope you guys like it. If we did, it was a long time ago. There's Niru.
The taste of chicken blood is very forward in the palate. Followed by a hint of donkey for a savory finish.
This sanguine vintage is exquisite. Just like our love.
Aw.
So why are you crying?
I can't help it, darling. It's just the way I am.
Dad, Mom, I need your help with my math homework.
Okay, that's better. That's way more better. Hey everybody. Hi. Okay. Yep. Haha, it's funny because you can see how much more tore up volume 1 is than volume 2, because 1 is where the bulk of the history is and 2 is where it's mostly art pieces and concept art. We're gonna do the Forsaken Family, then you're gonna get their individual stories, because I think that the Forsaken Family story builds up this kind of like mystery, air of mystery about them to a large degree. So I think that could be cool, and then we'll do the individual stories. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So good talk. Go team. Zach says, I am so glad you're here, buddy. Nice to see you. Let us. And by the way, everybody who's on YouTube, if you are not yet following on Twitch, our Twitch channel is where everybody mostly likes to hang out, but I do like to stream to YouTube to find new people and to, you know, keep a record of the videos so that they're all in nice 4K afterwards without me having to, you know, Twitch takes them down eventually and they don't always go up correctly, and it's a whole thing. So head on over to DangerGrey Twitch. This is the Forsaken Family on AFK with DangerGrey. By the time Jarl groggily came to, the looting was over. The moonlight was dim against the thickly clouded night sky, the forest blanketed in milky mist. The sight before him was chaos. The contents of the caravan were scattered all over the ground, everything of value stolen, and there was no sign of the horses. He surveyed the surrounding mess, but found no body. Thank heavens! No body. That means his son, Reginald, may still be alive. He should have got away safely. Jarl comforted himself. Jarl is a traveling merchant. This is the first time he'd ever taken his young son on business with him. As his wife died in childbirth, his son was all the family he had. When Reginald was still an infant, Jarl was away on business often, and with no way to take care of Reginald himself, he instead left him in the care of neighbors. Several times a year he would visit them, leaving a sum of care money for living expenses. As soon as Reginald was old enough, however, Jarl took him from their hometown and kept his son firmly by his side, bidding farewell to their lifestyle of long separation. As they journeyed together, the father and son duo got along well. Jarl came to realize that Reginald was an exceptionally gifted talker, silver-tongued and shrewd in his dealings, meticulous and cautious in his calculations. Seeing his son show such wonderful business sense brought a great deal of joy to Jarl. However, today they were beset upon by bandits. He's not sure why. Jarl's memory of events is hazy. All he remembers is that he was setting up camp for the night, and a group of bandits just suddenly burst into the camp. He shouted at Reginald to flee as he tried to fend them off, but everything that happened after that is just a fog. Over the years, Jarl has traveled to and fro quite often, knowing well the dangers and the risk of banditry. He originally planned to hire a pair of mercenaries to escort them safely through the area, but he'd spent so much on his stock that he lacked the funds. His feelings of guilt also played a part in this, as he fawned over his son, buying him many things on their journey, leaving him nothing to spare for their safety. Jarl needed to find his son, and he needed to find him now. But he had no idea where he could be. Desperately, Jarl did his best to recall the direction in which the boy fled, aiming to pursue that path. For several hours he trudged the forest paths, wandering and wondering if he was imagining things, and wandering after them. Everything felt so familiar, as if he'd seen it all many times before, yet he was unable to recall how or when he'd been here. The surrounding fog suddenly became too thick to see through, and anxiety swept into Jarl's heart. He began to think that maybe this persistent mist was sentient, deliberately chasing him and toying with him. Not only that, but the feeling he was being watched sent a bitter chill down his spine. The nagging feeling of seeing figures appear and then disappear in the fog clung to him like the mist itself. One of the figures even resembling his deceased wife for the briefest moment. As soon as he approached, whoosh, they were gone. Specters in the fog. Determined not to let fear impede his finding his son, Jarl pressed on. Before long, the sound of a child's nearby voice ominously rang out through the trees. It was impossible for Jarl to see through the thick mist. Steeling his nerves, he bravely walked towards the voice, ominous though it was. Huddled down beside a tree, it was impossible for Jarl to see through the thick mist. Steeling his nerves, he bravely walked towards the voice. Huddled down beside a dead tree was a young boy. He couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old. Dressed strikingly in white, he sat with his head bowed, whispering something. Unable to comprehend why a child would be alone in such a desolate forest, Jarl spoke. Hello, young man. I'm looking for my son. Have you seen him at all? He's called Reginald. He's 15 years old, not too tall, wearing a grey coat." The boy raised his head. His face was deathly pale. He shook his head. "Haven't seen him." Immediately looking back to the floor, he asked, "Did you see him, Stitchy?" Jarl followed the boy's gaze, arriving at that which he questioned, a small puppet laying on the ground. Looking up again, the boy said, "Stitchy says he hasn't seen him." "Stitchy?" Jarl asked, uncertainty in his voice. "He's called Stitchy. He's my best friend." The boy stood up and earnestly held his puppet up to Jarl's face. "Say hi to him. Stitchy loves it when other people greet him." The puppet looked quite worn, fixed with numerous patches, the stitching around its mouth all stretched out. Jarl had the unwelcome feeling the puppet was alive and laughing at him. Something about it was unspeakably horrid. He averted his eyes, unable to look directly at it. Seeing Jarl's reaction, the boy spoke with disappointment in his voice. "Don't you like Stitchy?" "Don't you like Stitchy?" "Sir." Reluctantly, Jarl glanced at the puppet and offered a "Hello, Stitchy," before hurriedly looking away again. "Well then, young man, I'm going to find my son now. You shouldn't stay here. It's not safe. Go home, okay?" "My mom and dad might have seen your son. They're not far away. They're just over there." The boy pointed. "Ah, can you take me to see your mom and dad?" "Sure," the boy agreed eagerly. Jarl followed the boy into the depths of the forest. Suddenly, he realized the boy wasn't dressed in white, but rather was wrapped in bandages. Fear suddenly struck Jarl, but his resolve to find his son Reginald drove him onward. He had to ask the boy's parents if they knew Reginald's whereabouts. After walking a short while, a dim flame appeared just ahead of them. As Jarl followed the boy, they came upon a smoldering bonfire, seated beside which was a man and a woman. The man looked emaciated, his face blue and gaunt, his body lifeless. The woman seemed to have lost her eyesight, a blindfold covering her eyes, her face deathly pale. "Mom! Dad!" The boy ran over to them. The woman patted his head and whispered something to him. Obediently, the boy nodded, shook his head twice, and hurried off into the mists of the forest to play by himself and Stitchy. "Lost wanderer, come, rest a while." The blind woman called to him, turning to face Jarl as if seeing right through the blindfold. This family seemed beyond strange, making Jarl hesitant to walk over, his feet stuck in their place. Clenching his fists, he finally managed to stand 3 paces away from the bonfire, ensuring a certain amount of space between himself and this unsettling-looking couple. He wanted to find his son as quickly as possible and get as far away from here as he could.
You still cannot leave yet. Ahem. We know who you're looking for, Jarl.
The man cut him off. How do you know my name? How do you know my name? Jarl was suddenly on edge. Without thinking, he took a few steps backwards. The man's expression was thoughtful as he beckoned Jarl over to sit with him.
I know where Reginald is.
Jarl's guard immediately dropped upon hearing his son's name. He tried to contain his excitement. Where is he? He asked, sitting down close to the man now. Not answering, the man asked his own question.
First, tell me something. Where are we?
The Forest of Crows, about 40 miles from Millerton. The man shook his head. The man shook his head.
Wrong. This is the realm of denial.
Jarl didn't believe a word of it, and aptly so. But keen to find his son, he plays along now with the man's words. Jarl asked him, Realm of Denial? Don't think I've ever heard of it.
The realm of denial is a place that souls wander. Lost souls. The desire to live is a pervasive disease of the mortal, craving life so much that they selectively forget their own deaths, how they died, the circumstances around their end. They remember only that which they accept, and as for that which they do not accept, it is merely a blur. These lost souls become trapped, bound to this realm by their obsessively pursuing that which they pursued in life before death. This realm, created by the projections of lost souls, is outside the restrictions of space and time. It is called the realm of denial. While the dead and the living are ordinarily isolated, there are occasions in which they may encounter one another.
Taking a stick, the man prodded at the weakly smoldering bonfire. The dim glow against his face made him look even more unwell. He continued. Since Anai, the god of death, abandoned his duties, the laws that bind death have broken down into chaos. That chaos has created this place, the realm of denial. Without order, those lost souls will continue to relive their experience, dying again and again, each time with no recollection of the moment they perished. Stuck in this endless cycle, they roam eternally, as if lost in a haze, never able to escape. Are you with me, Jarl? Why are you telling me this? Jarl was suddenly on edge again, looking around at the fog, feeling uneasy. The man did not answer. Instead, looking meaningfully at Jarl. You mean I? Oh, no. Impossible. No. Oh, that's good. Jarl suddenly realized his predicament. But, as it says in the name,
refused to accept it. Nothing is impossible. The man spoke flatly. You didn't think it strange that the paths felt so familiar, like you've been here before? Or the remnants of other souls wandering around, you must have seen some. That happens occasionally when the projections overlap. Jarl was dumbfounded. It was just as the man said. The strange sights and dissolving ghosts, the glimpses of other souls as he wandered. Jarl's mind went blank. After a while passed, he struggled with the words. If I really am dead, how did I die? You were killed by the bandits, Jarl. The blind woman sighed. However, your obsession with caring for your child makes your soul unwilling to accept death. But what of Reginald? What about my son? He survived, didn't he? At this moment, Jarl's parental instinct kicked in and overwhelmed him. It was, after all, one of his greatest virtues. Nothing mattered as much as the safety of his child, not even his own death. The blind woman answered. He fled as you told him to. He survived, darling. Jarl let out a deep sigh of relief. After a period of silence, Jarl spoke carefully. You said that lost souls reincarnate over and over. How many times have I reincarnated? This is the 34th time, the man replied. Tonight is your resurrection night. It is the night that falls just once a year, in which the realm of denial... The man began drawing now, in the bonfire with the stick, making the embers swirl as he did so. Just once a year, in which the realm of denial will manifest, and the cycle of your reincarnation begins again. On this night, 33 years ago, you were killed by a bandit. And so, every night on this night, every year, you begin the cycle anew. Up to this moment, you have relived this experience 34 times. 33 years! Pained, Jarl clutched at his hat and sobbed uncontrollably. He'd already missed his son's childhood, and now he knew he'd lost another 33 years of his son's life. He had no clue how Reginald had lived so long alone without him. Then what happened to Reginald after that? Jarl asked. He became a merchant. He became a merchant like you, the blind woman answered. He's the richest man in the empire. I knew it.
Jarl's eyes filled with tears of pride. I knew he would surpass me. His breast swelled, his eyes gleamed, and for a moment, Jarl was only happy. Perhaps hearing this news brought Jarl some peace, and he calmed a little and slowly ventured to ask, I want to know, why are you telling me all this? We came to help you, the blind woman said. To help you break free, the man added. Jarl looked at the man, seeing a mix of emotions set in his eyes. Sorrow, pity. Reluctantly, Jarl asked, How can you help me?
I'll help you find him.
Rising to his feet, a huge scythe appeared in the man's hand, just like that. He lifted it and swung it at the thick mist. As the scythe's blade glinted in the fog and gleamed, it was though space itself had been sliced right open, a tear appearing in the murky air. Through the tear, Jarl saw another middle-aged man lost in the fog. He was dressed in finery, carried himself with poise, and wore a deeply anxious expression. He looked around flustered, as if seeking something. The tear widened as the space between the two planes seemed to draw closer and mingle together. Catching sight of Jarl, the middle-aged man asked him quizzically,
Now, I beg your pardon. You haven't perchance seen my two children, Angelo and Rowan. They've run away from home. I must get back to them. I have something terribly important to entrust to them.
Reginald? He could barely believe his eyes, but Jarl knew immediately. It was Reginald. The years had worn away at his features, and much had changed with age, but a hint of youthfulness remained about him.
To whom do I speak, my lord?
Reginald, my child, it's me. Jarl's voice failed as he choked back tears. Reginald stared at Jarl for a short time, suddenly blurting out,
Father?
Yes, it's me, dear boy. Jarl spoke, his voice quivering now.
Why are you here? This is impossible.
Reginald was so shocked. He began to speak, uttering incoherent nonsense.
Well, I had Chib in the thicket.
A realization dawned upon Jarl as he looked at his son standing before him. Overcome by a sense of despair, he turned to the couple and pleaded with them. I'm begging you, he's barely middle-aged. Oh, his life shouldn't have ended yet. Please, forget my liberation and just let him live. I beg of you. His life has already reached its conclusion. The blind woman let out a heavy sigh. Although his death was not destined to be of old age, his end is set in stone. It cannot be changed.
What on earth is going on? Where am I? Who are you people?
Reginald was baffled by the bizarre scene before his eyes. and they kept falling on the scythe.
Reginald!
Jarl began, but faltered. He couldn't bring himself to tell his son the truth. The man stepped in to answer.
You're dead, Reggie. You passed away 2 months ago. This place is the realm of denial. It is where your soul wandered. And your father's.
What are you saying? Well, that's impossible!
Reginald reacted furiously.
Just last night I was drinking tea with the king's finance minister. How on earth could I have died 2 months ago?
The man was expressionless, having grown used to such reactions quite a long time ago. Calmly, he explained to Reginald all that he had just explained to Jarl. Reginald collapsed into tears, his voice hoarse.
There's still so much to do with my business. And Rowan, he's still so young. Still out there by himself. He's not ready. Angelo, oh, God bless that little fruitcake. Even though he's following a different path, I haven't told him how proud of him I am. He's just so dainty. It's so hard. But I love him. I do. I have to find them. I must entrust everything to them. I can't die like this.
Jarl found himself recalling what the man had not long ago told him, that the dead that cling to life will find themselves trapped in this never-ending cycle. He didn't want Reginald to become dragged into the same miserable quagmire. Reginald, listen to me. Jarl placed his hands upon Reginald's shoulders. My son, you have to accept it. Your children will live their lives. You have to understand and let it go. I don't want you to end up like me. You don't need to worry. Dad will be by your side from this last leg of the journey. Reginald looked up and deep into Jarl's eyes, and for the longest time cried tears of bitter regret.
Father, I'm so sorry. I should never have run away. I should have stayed and fought bravely like you did. All these years I've been so...
Reginald cried out all the sorrow and regret that had been buried deep within his heart, torturing him all these years. I don't blame you. Your surviving was the best thing that happened. Jarl comforted him. Well, let's take this last walk together, shall we? Reginald was hesitant, seeming to struggle with leaving his life behind. At long last, he nodded. The middle-aged father and son put a supportive arm around one another as they turned to the fog and gradually faded away. Did the nice man get reunited with his son? The little boy poked his head out from behind a dead tree. Yes, Damon, they were reunited, the man said calmly. Oh, that's great! Stitchy, they were reunited! Just like me and Dad! The boy gleefully threw the puppet up into the air and caught it. Mom, Dad, let's go home. The boy skipped away as the couple put out the dying bonfire. Following the boy, they turned and disappeared into the mist. Forsaken, but together. Actually, most of it was in there, Bama. Most of it was actually in there. Yeah, most of that wasn't ad lib. Hey Zoth, welcome in. That was a good one, huh, guys? Yeah, that'll make a good video. I hope people like it. I had fun. Man, I don't think I've ever read that before. That was all a cold read. That was entirely a cold read. I've never seen that material before. I was just, you know how I do, just faking it until you make it. That was good though. I felt good. I liked, yeah, that was a good story. Really good story. Really, really good one. But they're all good in AFK Arena, and that's why Journey needs to include these stories in the characters need to have their stories on their profile. It adds so much to the world. So hopefully they will realize that and start, and well, not start. Hopefully they'll realize that how much of an impact they can make, because we've been telling them it repeatedly for 2 years now. Well, a year now. It was about a year and a half ago they got rid of the stories in Journey and took them out of the profiles. Of course, Zoth. Yeah, I'm barbecuing in about an hour too. So now next we're gonna do each of their individual stories. So that is what's next up here for us. Let me find the story of probably Niru first. Let me see. Yeah, Hawk, that was totally a cold read. Absolutely. Like a 1,000,000% yes. I've never seen that before. Which is why it's hard for me to keep the accents going and the voices a little bit, because like I haven't practiced them. I'm making them up on the spot. So I have to, in that moment, literally in that moment, be like, wait, how did this person sound? All right, Bama, thanks for coming through, buddy. Yeah, we got a little bit longer to go here. We're gonna do, like I said, each of their 3 stories individually before we call it a day. Welcome in, everybody, on YouTube. If you guys haven't found me on Twitch yet, make sure you head over to Twitch and follow at DangerGrey. That's where the party's going on usually in our chat, although you're welcome to hang out on YouTube as well. We just finished the first story of the Forsaken Family, and now we're gonna go and do their individual stories. And I'm trying to decide here if we should start with Niru or with Shem. Yeah, I got out the second book now. Check out the second book, guys. So the second book is the one that I was saying earlier. It's like, still has, it's not nearly as worn out. But the second book's got all the different character bios in it. It's huge, too. I mean, it's like a big book. It's beautiful, man. Respin! Hey! That's Molars. Taylene! My goodness, it's Taylene! I reckon I know her. I still gotta put out that Taylene video I made last year. I fucking, guys, I'm the worst at... I'm not, it's, you know, I'm learning with the content creating. I put so much time and effort into this Taylene video and never finished it, so it never came out. It's like, it's really good. It's the first time that I had done like really granular editing on a lot of stuff and like camera motion and things. Like it's one of the fanciest ones I've done. Okay, let me find what I'm looking for here. Okay. Man, I want to see Fox come. Fox is one of my I want to see Fox come and be a badass. Out of everybody in AFK Arena, other than Khazard, of course, Fox might be my number one choice I'd want to see, just because he's so effing cool. Such a cool character, and he's part of Muriel's like crew, you know. Him and Muriel are super tight. They're bounty hunters together, so it would be awesome to see like Fox and Rain join the story along with Muriel. And okay. Hypogeans, Celestials, Maulers, Graveborn, here we go. Oh dang, these pages are even prettier. These are gorgeous. I didn't know they were like this. Okay, so he's the first of the Graveborn heroes in here. But look, you guys, these pages are jet black. Like black. Oh shit, I turned off the, hold on. It's gonna edit it out, that's how black they are. Like jet black pages. These are really cool. And then come on. Yeah, look, every single one. Sylvina. So cool, man. There's a bunch of them too. Who's this? It's a long one. Oh, of course, Theowen. Oh no, it's Desira, yeah. Desira. I couldn't believe they didn't put her into waves. Like they did an expansion about Graveborns in the ocean and didn't use Desira. Like what? But I guess, you know, only so much. It's not like they had too much content. How long did Waves last? Wasn't it like 9 days, I think? The content for Waves of Intrigue. Anyway, it's only the first year. They're gonna get better every year. I'm sure of it. I have no doubt. All right, let's do this. Let's do Niru. Yeah, I think Niru comes first. I do. Yeah. Yep.
Niru. You're dead, Reggie.
That was an ad-lib. It said, "You're dead, Reginald." So, I was pretty pleased with that one, though. All right. Yeah, if you guys are on YouTube and you haven't followed me on Twitch, please go over to Twitch and follow at DangerGrey. If you are on Twitch and you haven't followed the YouTube, please go to the YouTube and follow at DangerGrey. Actually, Khazard might have fit better into Waves, Hawk. But, you know, they could always... I mean, there's a lot more content to do in the future. Niru. The Whispering Doom. Or...
my treasured collection. Not bad, hmm?
Or the Soul Collector. Some spend their entire lives fearing that one inevitability that comes for every living thing. Most go about their days not considering how closely death walks alongside us with every step. A few take a different approach. It is, after all, the unknown that we fear. Even death, if we hold it closely and know it well, loses that terrifying and mysterious aspect. Niru has held death more closely than anyone. When warm blood still moved through his veins, when he still enjoyed the feeling of the sun on his face, Niru was a field medic. He would follow the king's forces from battle to battle, encampment to encampment, fort to fort. During times of relative peace, he loved his work. There was blood and pain, sure, but it was manageable. Accidents happen, illnesses spread, and someone must set things right. It was during battle that he encountered true horror. The suffering and violence he saw was well beyond what he'd thought possible. These wounds, this pain, the cries of agony, these weren't accidents. Every instance of harm on the battlefield was intentional, inflicted in hatred or in fear. It was chaos on a grand scale. It was unimaginable, unmanageable, and no one could set it right. There were so many wounded. There was no way to attend to everyone. Even among those he could reach, there was often nothing to be done, except wait for the mangled forms before him to gracelessly expire in blood and tears. People have the remarkable ability, however, to become accustomed to anything. As the bodies continued to pile up, Niru began to forget the faces of the men who had died in front of him, as well as those he had saved. He grew callous, but this was largely a blessing. He stalked through the field with purpose now, quickly assessing each situation, performing triage with the greatest efficacy. With his cold eyes and case of sharp instruments, he often frightened even those whose lives he was saving, but any soldier who found himself short a limb could count himself lucky to receive Niru's attentions. This cold efficacy led to Niru's questionable method of dealing with the fatally injured. With a flat expression, he would whisper, "You're going to be all right. Just stay still a moment. Just stay still," as he deftly severed a major artery, using a scalpel so sharp the recipient often didn't even feel it. A few brief moments later, the wounded soldier would cross the veil. He viewed this as a kindness, but also, Niru became fascinated with the process of dying, and with what lay beyond those darkened gates. He began to seek out knowledge of necromancy. That whispered word of Bantus. He would collect arcane tomes and greedily compile all the information he could gather on the subject. When away from the fighting, he would pore over his books, forgetting to eat, forgetting to sleep. On the field, he would discreetly perform a quick ritual here, a whispered spell there, noting their effects and adding it to his rapidly expanding library of forbidden knowledge. Niru was an expert surgeon, and among the gruesome array of war injuries, his small, precise incisions were never noticed. However, those around him became curious about his notebooks, sketches, and increasingly unusual surgical instruments. The men became suspicious, and when an officer was asked to investigate the nature of these items, it was too late for the talented medic. When he was arrested and brought to trial, he simply sneered at the judges and the questioners. It was beneath him to defend undertaking actions with such clear benefits. If these unenlightened bureaucrats wished to sentence him for a crime, then so be it. The death sentence was handed down without much deliberation. The following dawn, announced the judge, Niru would witness his final sunrise. Those watching the condemned man upon this announcement were perplexed. How could he be wearing such a contented smile when death was at the door? The night before the verdict was to be carried out, locked in a cold cell, Niru bit deeply into his fingers. With a series of arcane exhortations and spiteful incantations, he traced out complex symbols on the stone floor with his blood. There he sat, murmuring in the dark, occasionally hearing other voices murmur back. Yes. This lasted until they came to take him away, by which time the deed was done. Days after his execution and burial, Niru rose, more powerful than he ever could have been in life.
Embrace the inevitable.
I love that he was a field medic, yeah? Cool, right? Okay. Onward to Shemira, the star of today.
Thank you for always being by my side. How about a little playtime, just for now?
All right. Now there are two Shemira lore stories to read, so we'll start with her first lore story here. The original Shemira, who is, where is she? She's got to be here somewhere. Here she is. Beck? No. Get it, girl. The original Dami Mommy of Esperia. No lie, man. Oh, yeah. She's a beast. Wow. Wow. All right. Oof, look how great she, you guys, she looks just like it. Really cool. All right. Shemira. Corpsemaker. Corpsemaker, Shemira. Haha. Love it. Okay. Hype, hype, hype. I love you guys. All right.
How about a little playtime? Just for now? Chaos holds no place in my soul. Strength blooms only when sorrow fades. Daimon, Niru. May the spirits guide your path. I have prevailed.
I think you guys are going to be hearing a lot of that over the next, you know, however many years you play this game. I imagine that
I have prevailed.
will prevail quite frequently.
I have prevailed. Your voice reached me. Chaos holds no place in my soul. Daimon, Niru.
I love that her defeat is her mentioning her family, too.
Strength blooms only when sorrow fades. May the spirits guide your path.
Okay. And of course, the AI-generated tales we are not interested in. Garbage. So fucked up that they just don't bother, even though we've offered several times to help them write the actual stories for heroes. They insist on keeping these AI-generated nonsense tales thrown in here, many of which are incorrect even on their own heroes from like AFK Arena. Even they couldn't get them right. We offered to do them all as a community, as a lore community, and give them. I sent them several drafts of them, and they really thanked me for the passion and made me the official lore historian for Esperia and the official lore core creator, and did not change the tales. Except for that one that was so egregious from Sylvina that literally contradicted the tale like two tales before it, which was how you could clearly see that it had been AI. But that's a tale for another day. This, my friends, is Shemira. Shemira, Corpsemaker. A soul forged in sorrow, with nothing left for her in the world. This was Shemira in the final months of her life. Her husband had been a renowned healer, but her adoration and respect for him had gone out the window when she heard about the horrific acts of which he'd been accused. Her love soured such that when his execution came, she felt more anger than sadness. Niru had left her alone to care for their son in an uncaring world. It wasn't long after Niru's execution that the fevers took hold on her boy, Daimon. Had Niru been present, Shemira was sure that he could have done something. She did everything she could, calling on all the best remaining physicians of Esperia, and keeping vigil with silent prayers at the child's bedside. Her efforts, however, were not enough. After his burial, she felt as if she had nothing left to live for. There was no longer any reason to go about her days as she had before. She began spending almost every waking hour next to the grave of her son, sometimes filling the cemetery with a haunting wail, sometimes staring trance-like at the headstone for hours on end. She stopped taking food more often than not, and her face became hollow, her expression blank. One day, as she sat beside the grave, watching the last weak rays of sunlight kiss her son's name carved in the headstone, she heard her name. She couldn't locate the source of the voice, but it seemed to be right next to her. She froze, recognizing the voice as that of her late husband. There was so much to say, so much to ask. Where could she begin? Exhaling slowly, she chose the one question that really mattered. "Why are you here?" She grimaced, and tears flooded down her cheeks when she heard the answer. How could Daimon possibly be saved at this point? A glimmer of hope had been placed in front of her from nowhere. The thought that it might wink out terrified her now more than anything. She didn't want to listen, but it was impossible not to. If there was somehow some chance, she would have to be strong enough to take it. "Prove it," she forced out between gritted teeth. The ground in front of her began to swell. She could feel tiny vibrations from the ground, as if something was disturbing the soil underneath the surface. First came a hand, rising through the dirt, then the pallid face, and more, until finally her son, or some form of him, stood before her. She struggled not to scream or pass out. A mix of awe, horror, and relief was pulling at each corner of her mind, threatening to tear it apart. She still knew what this meant for her, however. Direction. Purpose. She would never let any ill befall the boy again. She relayed this to Niru, who explained that the only way to be truly reunited was to cross through the veil of death and rejoin them both on the other side. Shemira didn't hesitate. She gave Niru a simple, short command and felt a sharp coldness spread through her chest and into her limbs. She drifted into what felt like a heavy sleep, content in the reassuring presence of the ones she needed most. When she awakened, she had found a kind of happiness she never thought she would feel again. Don't pretend to care for something you're not willing to die for. Don't pretend to care for something you're not willing to die for. Oh! Oh, she really is a family woman, right? Oh man, oh man. All right. Let's hit up Awakened Shemira now. Awakened Shemira. Awakened Shemira, the Soulreaver. This one's the extra bad bitch. She was already a bad bitch. Now she a extra bad bitch. Oh man, yeah. Okay. Formerly a tailor, Shemira possesses a pair of skillful hands. Besides Damon's favorite Stitchy, she also made many other adorable puppets for Damon. This big teddy bear is about to be completed, and Damon will soon have a new buddy. After stepping out of the puppet workshop, the fuming spirits calmed down and left Shemira's body. They have had their revenge, so they no longer corrode Shemira's will and now reside peacefully in the cursed soul chain? Ooh, we'll get there. A portrait painted by Damon. In it, he snuggles up to his mom and dad. Damon's painting skills might not be accomplished, but Shemira has always cherished the portrait and hung it in a conspicuous place. It represents the wish she and Damon both share together. And if we're going to read this, we should probably once more jump right into that super cool precursor video of it. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I was like, what am I hearing? That's AFK. It's Arena. Yeah, it was. Okay, cool. Yeah, because
let's sing this elegy together. You're not taking Daimon away from me.
an original Shemira. We should probably get her voice on here too. I forgot how cool original Shemira voice is. Check this out, guys.
No! Don't take away my child! Ivan, give Daimon back to me!
You're quite the stubborn one, aren't you? Foolish and pathetic. Shemira, how could you possibly dare to challenge me in your pitiful condition? Every child here is a testament to my artistry. With Damon, my lifelong research will finally reach its zenith.
I can't, and I won't collapse. Daimon, my child. No.
I refuse to lose you again.
Such agony. I thirst for
Please, Ivan. Have mercy and set me free. I feel all of your pain. Give up your souls. I shall be the instrument of your vengeance. Concede to your destiny, Ivan. Give my Daimon back to me!
Mother?
Oh yeah, she's a super badass. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go.
Accept your fate. Die.
Awakened Shemira is still super relevant in PvP at the very least. We use her all the time. She's like one of the core heroes for that because she can go in front of a hero and keep them alive way after death. So, all right, Awoken Shemira's story.
You're not taking Daimon away from me.
Oh yes, Shemira Grey will be making a comeback. In fact, Hawk, I should say, everyone should prepare themselves, in fact, for Shemira Grey, who shall be appearing this week sometime. You'll have to come and see. You never know when she might join us. Wait, Shemira Grey! You never know. No, really, truly though, I'm gonna rock the Shemira cosplay someday this week, either on launch day for her or next weekend. We'll see. Look how great she looks compared to the Awoken Shemira, right? I was going for Awoken Shemira here on the left. The hair color's spot on, man. Anyway, let's do this because I gotta go to a barbecue for Easter. All right. Crash! The door burst open, and a frail woman rushed into the room. In the secret workshop of the bonesmith, countless puppets littered the corridors, their cries of anguish filling the air. Shemira felt the soul's wails within the puppets, witnessing their past lives. These souls suffered. Their bodies turned into puppet shells, their spirits imprisoned to obey the tormentor. Yet the bonesmith remained unsatisfied, deeming his creations defective, ever seeking more victims to torture. Shemira sadly shook her head, pulling herself from the painful memories of these tortured souls. She needed to find Daimon, swiftly, or else. In the workshop's depths, the bonesmith carved a puppet's joints. Daimon lay motionless on the dissection table nearby. The bonesmith, displeased, mumbled, "Something's missing." Wait. In the workshop's depths, the bonesmith carved a puppet's joints. Daimon lay motionless on the dissection table, nearby. The bonesmith, displeased, mumbled,
"Something's missing. No matter. Once I unlock this boy's hidden power, you'll all be perfect masterpieces."
"Give Daimon back to me!" Shemira shouted as she charged forward. Surprised by the intruder, the bonesmith waved his hand casually, as if pulled by invisible strings. The puppets around the room suddenly sprang to life and attacked Shemira.
"This is no ordinary child." The bonesmith laughed.
The bonesmith... Fuck! Hold on. As if pulled by invisible strings, the puppets around the room suddenly sprang to life and attacked Shemira.
"This is no ordinary child."
The bonesmith laughed maniacally.
"Once I unravel his secrets, countless masterworks will be born!"
"I won't let you!" Shemira yelled furiously. "I hear the cries of these souls. I know what you did to them. I won't let you do the same to my Daimon!" Shemira desperately fought off a puppet, but the puppets so easily reassemble, continuing their onslaught even when broken. Shemira's attacks only met air. Met only air. While watching Shemira's struggle, the bonesmith condescendingly shook his head. How could this woman grasp his grand vision? Sneering, he approached Daimon with a carving knife. Panicking and distracted, Shemira was hit by yet another puppet and fell. Yeah, no, for sure. Happy Easter, Jordan. Thank you for coming. And I gotta pause for just another 10 seconds, guys, and do an IRL thing just for really, really quick. I just gotta let the dog out the door. 1 sec. I'm not going anywhere. Literally 10 seconds. if the cat would stop running out the door when the dogs go out, it'd be a lot faster. Ooh. Voice work. It gets you. And we're back. While watching Shemira's struggle, the bonesmith condescendingly shook his head. How could this woman grasp his grand vision? Sneering, he approached Daimon with a carving knife. Panicking and distracted, Shemira was hit by yet another puppet and fell. Trapped beneath the tangled puppet limbs, Shemira reached out desperately for Daimon, letting out a despairing wail. Ah! Daimon stayed unresponsive, just like when he lay in his coffin before, unmoving despite her tears. I've lost Daimon once already. I won't let it happen again. You're not taking Daimon away from me! I hear your pain, Shemira called out to the puppets. Give me your strength! Let me avenge you! A puppet froze in its tracks. After a moment, its bones rattled as a tortured soul wrested free from the puppet's husk and seeped into Shemira's body. I can't think of anything to... Oh, wait. The soulless puppet collapsed limply into a pile of bones. Shemira rose unsteadily to her feet as more and more souls converged and melded into her.
You're mad! The spirits will consume you! You'll become a mindless monster!
The bonesmith shrieked in terror. The overwhelming resentment raged within Shemira, the torment rendering her speechless. Boundless hatred engulfed her entirely, and a roar that was not her own erupted from her throat.
You shall perish!
A long chain crackling with vengeful energy formed around Shemira. She flicked her wrist and the chain shot toward the bonesmith in a green blur, fracturing his ribs with a sharp crack. As the chain coiled back into her hand, Shemira advanced, and the chain's seething resentment transformed into a raging bloodlust, tearing the bonesmith's body apart. You've tortured us for too long! An eye for an eye! A tooth for a tooth! No mercy! Countless voices rang out from within Shemira as she mindlessly unleashed her hatred, relentlessly lashing with the chain even as the bonesmith lay motionless.
You've tortured us for too long.
An eye for an eye for an eye for an eye for
An eye, no mercy.
No mercy! Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!
Countless voices rang out from within Shemira as she mindlessly unleashed her hatred, relentlessly lashing with the chain even as the bonesmith lay motionless. Suddenly, Shemira felt something tugging behind her. She spun around, clawing viciously at the air. Ma? Her hand stopped mid-swing. Shemira slowly came to, realizing it was a young boy clutching her sleeve. She kneeled down and hugged Daimon as hard as she possibly could. Oh gosh, we have that set to green screen. So much going on, man. It's a good Esperia Chronicles episode, huh guys? We're having a good time. Okay, finally, last but certainly not least, my boy, the ultimate emo warrior. The ultimate emo warrior. The dead child brought back to life, whose, like, a true ambivalence is just the essence of everything cool and emo. I give you one of my early favorite characters in all of AFK Arena, and still one of the coolest. Daimon.
Just let me go. Just let me go.
Sometimes their voices don't work. Let's see. Weird. They were working earlier. Torn. Thorin.
Long live the king.
Yeah, Thorin. And Daimon.
Where are you?
There's my boy.
Good. Good. Just let me go.
That's one of my favorite voice lines in the whole game. All right, story time. Just let me go. Let me go. That's so cool. Where are you?
My pain is now yours. Just let me go. My pain is now yours.
Oh, and this is his skin that I adore so much. But, the, original Daimon is, of course, bandages. And Stitchy is, classic Stitchy here.
Why must we suffer?
Emo to the max.
Good.
All right, story time. Daimon, the Forsaken Child. I'm pulling it up here so that we can at least look at him. Just getting it out of my trusty book. Farael, Kelther, Isolde, Odin, Torn, Silas, and Daimon. Ah, yes, Daimon. Oh, is his story in first person? It may be. Just let me go. Daimon, the Forsaken Child. Goddess in heaven, do you hear me? I am Daimon. You probably don't know me, since today is my first time praying to you. I have a hard-working father and a good mother. My dad's a doctor, and my mom's the best tailor in town. She made Platy's shirt and Uncle Tuto's wedding suit. Oh, and there's Stitchy. Do you want to meet Stitchy? He's my friend. My mom gave him to me for my 6th birthday. I'm already all grown up, and this year I turn 9. Do you think he's powerful? Mom said heroes of war were all like that, wearing capes and riding big horses, bravely protecting us. But that they get hurt, too. So, since my dad's a good doctor, he's gone to help them. He stitches them up, just like Mom sews up my clothes. I want to be a good doctor, too, but I'm sick. Because I'm not well, Mom doesn't let me go outside or play with the other children. Dad doesn't have time to come home much, either. Grandpa said you like obedient children that listen to their mothers, that you only help well-behaved children get their wishes. Goddess, can you make my wish come true? Actually, there was this one day I didn't listen to Mom. I snuck out and ran off. I wanted to play with the other children so bad in town, but they all ignored me. Selena threw stones at me and said my dad was a bad man. And Big Peter tripped me over and wanted to steal Stitchy. I didn't want to give Stitchy to him. Stitchy is my best friend. When Mom was sewing late into the night, I'd sleep with him and whisper lots of secrets to him. Goddess, can you hear Stitchy talk? Stitchy says I'm a good boy, and that Peter, who broke his hand, he's the bad one. Stitchy told me to tell Mom about what happened,
but I didn't want to worry her. Mom is really busy, sewing late at night with an oil lamp. Sometimes she cries as she does it. Stitchy said when people are suffering and very sad, tears fall from their eyes. Is that really true, Goddess? I'm in so much pain. After winter came, I got a fever, and then the diarrhea started and wouldn't stop. Mom said I'd get better, but my head just hurt more and more, and my strength is mostly gone. Midwinter festivities came, and Dad still didn't have time to come and see me. Goddess, was Selena right about Dad not coming back? Selena and Peter are outside the window laughing, making a snowman. Mom, I want to make a snowman with Dad. But Mom silently stroked my head, and Grandpa prayed to you again. Oh God, if this illness truly is the judgment of those people, please let me, an old man, bear it, and not Daimon. Grandpa Weir is getting older, and so is Mom. I'm sorry, Mom. It's because of me you're so sad. Because I'm too sick to eat. I wanted to wipe away her tears, but it hurts too much. Siggy said it'd all be over soon. We're going to a new place. Going where? If Mom can't find me, she'll definitely cry again. Goddess, I'm begging you. If you can hear me, please, just let me go. Let me go somewhere Mom and Dad can find me. I miss Dad. I don't want us to be apart ever again.
I wish that there was more, but unfortunately that is the very tragic end of Daimon's initial story. I'll have you all know, I went to great lengths to try and contact Farlight's voice acting casting department to audition for Daimon, and did not ever hear anything back. So I hope that he is excellent, but if not, I am very ready to step in. As I said, I adore this character. I really do. He is the sweetest boy. You're absolutely right, Hawk. He's super sweet.
Please, just let me go.
Does it, Hawk? That's good. Good, good, good. I want them to get it right. Well, fam. Yeah, I haven't heard him. I haven't heard the Journey version yet. I haven't heard it. I hope I'm glad you said it's good. It's good. Okay. I gotta go to Easter. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us today on the Esperia Chronicles. Please make sure that you guys like, subscribe, check out my other lore videos here on the Esperia Chronicles on YouTube and on Twitch. But YouTube is where you will find my videos after the fact. However, Twitch is the best place to hang out while we're doing the live streams, which is almost every day. So please, if you're watching on YouTube, head over to Twitch and throw me a follow. If you're on Twitch, make sure you head over to YouTube and subscribe and check out the other videos. And I will see everybody almost certainly tomorrow for Final Fantasy, because it's been about a week and I think we should jump back into it. So, and for Journey, of course, we'll be ready when Shemira launches this week, and there will be an appearance by Shemira Grey, whether it's on her launch or maybe this coming weekend. I can't say for sure, but make sure you guys are tuning in, because at some point, Shemira Grey will reappear. I love you guys. If you are a purchaser of dragon crystals in Journey, please do yourself a favor, honestly, as well as supporting me by going to DangerGrey.gg and get the discounts that they offer on dragon crystals, which will also go and support the art and work that I do here. It's a sponsorship from Loot Bar. I should actually put the Loot Bar logo. I can't believe I haven't added it yet. It's been a couple weeks and I need to add it to the actual stream face. But we are now sponsored by Loot Bar. They are a wonderful top-up company. They are the most trustworthy and reliable of all of the top-up companies by far. It is the safest way to get discounts on your dragon crystals. So especially you guys that buy a lot of dragon crystals in game, it is you can. When I first signed with them, the deal at the time, so the deals are always changing, but the deal during that week, like a month ago or something, was literally 20% off. So it was like $160 would buy you $200 worth of dragon crystals. It was like a huge discount. So you literally will save money, and it goes to support me as an artist. So please, if you buy dragon crystals, consider checking out DangerGrey.gg. Don't just go to Loot Bar, because then it doesn't go to the artists that you like. It doesn't go to support creators. But if you go to DangerGrey.gg and use that link, it will support me. Otherwise, you can subscribe on Twitch, which really helps. Oh my God, it helps me out. Anything you guys can do. It does take a lot of my time and energy to produce this stuff, and I love doing it, and I want to be able to keep doing it. So thank you very much. Analytica forever. Make sure you join our Analytica Discord if you haven't yet. It's the largest community Discord in all of Esperia, quite literally. We have almost 30,000 people there. It's just the best community in Journey. And join Danger Grey Discord if you haven't yet. Danger Grey Disco RD is the coolest place to hang out with other artists and lore fans of Esperia from AFK Arena and AFK Journey. You can find the link to Danger Grey Disco all over the place. And Analytica is discord.gg/Analytica. Analytica forever. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed rest of your Easter. Happy 420 to people, because absolutely, man, happy 420. You know, peace, not war, love, all these things. Stay safe, Esperians, and I'll see you next time. Probably for Final Fantasy tomorrow, maybe even later tonight, depending what I can get away with the girlfriend. Peace.